Okay, so this is episode 3 of C Sharp, and in this we're going to be doing if statements, and switch statements, and conditional operators, also converting a string input to be an integer. So if you have an integer, let's say a, and we assign that to be equal to console.readline, this will error because it's a string, and you can't set a string equal to an integer. However, you can convert the string into an integer by doing int 32.parse and convert it like so, and then the value will be converted into an integer, so that would work without erroring. If the user inputs t, then it will error. Later on I'll show you how to handle these errors and change the input. So let's do an if statement. If a is equal to 5, so this is showing you, notice here there is a single equal sign. This is for assignment because you're setting the value of a equal to this string input, whereas here we're comparing a equal to a constant. If you're doing a comparison between a variable and a constant, you should always do the variable on the left and constant on the right. That's just convention. So in here I'll put console.writeLine a is 5. And if I run this and type 5, a is 5. If I run it again and do 4, nothing happens. So we can just do an if statement if a is equal to 7, then console.writeLine a is 7. So this would run. If I do 7, it would work. If we say a is greater than 3, so if o's is greater than 3, if I was to put 5, then both of these would activate, as you can see. If this is true and you don't want any following if statements to activate, then they need to be else if statements. So if I do this, then I can put 5, and it'll say a is 5. If I was to put 4, it'll say a is greater than 3. If I was to put 6, a is greater than 3. If I was to put 3, it doesn't say anything because it's not greater than or equal to. If you want greater than or equal to, you put an equals after the symbol is greater than or equal to. There's also less than or equal to, like that. This should work if I do 3 now. There's also the not equals to operator, so if a is not equal to 5, then we can do it like this. 5, a is 5, minus 6, a isn't 5. Now this is a redundant statement because if this is true, then it will do this bit, but if it's false, it should do anything but. But we're doing another if statement here. This is not necessary because if this is false, then we want to activate this. So to do this, we remove this part and say if this is true, do this, else do this. So if I was to put minus 6 again, it says a isn't 5. You can also have another if statement in between. You can have many if statements followed by, you have an if statement followed by many else if statements, and then at the end have an else statement. So if a is equal to 7, I should put this here. Console.writeLine a is 7. So 7, that works, and 6. So next I need to show you nested if statements. This is where you have an if statement inside an if statement. So if a is greater than 5, and in here if a is equal to 10, then we can say console.write line a is greater than 5 and a is equal to 10. But else we can write console.write line a is greater than 5 and a is 10. There's many ways you could have done this. I just wanted to show you one way. So this should work. I could also put here else console.write line a is less than or equal to 5. So if I do 10, it says that. If I do 11, it says that. If I do 5, it says that. Also, if you're doing an if statement and there's only one statement right after it, then you don't need the braces. So, for example, a is greater than 5. I can simply remove these here and here, and it will still work. And if I was to do an if statement, else statement afterwards, then I can put a is like so, and this will still work. You can also do else if like so. So all this will be valid if there's only one statement after the braces. If there's two statements, then one of them can have the braces without the other ones needing them, and this is still fine. Like so. So this has two statements, so this one has braces, but the rest don't need them. Next, there are conditional operators. So if a is greater than or equal to 5 and a is less than or equal to 10, then you can have, let me get rid of these actually. A is between the values of 5 and 10 inclusive. So that would work if I do 5, if I do 10, if I do 7. But if I was to do 13, then the first part of the statement would be true, but the second part would be false. If I do 3, then the first part will be false and the second part will be true. For this double AND operator, conditional AND, both parts need to be true in order for it to work. You can also do another one on top of that, and a is equal to 7. This output will be a bit useless. I can't really think of any other ones to show you, but yeah, you get the idea. Another operator is the conditional OR operator. So if a is equal to 7 or a is greater than 10, then and this will work. So 7, it works. 11 works. 10 doesn't. So that's pretty much it. Finally, you can use brackets with these statements. So you can do, if this is true, or A is greater than or equal to 1 and A is less than or equal to 4. So you need to do this, or A is between 1 and 4. So for this to be valid, you can have 7, 11 or more, 1, 2, 3 or 4. So 1 works, 3 works, 4 works, 5 doesn't, 7 does, 10 doesn't, and 14 does. Okay, finally I'm going to show you switch statements. Switch statements are basically a lazy way of doing if statements if you're just checking for values that are equivalent. So switch A, and then you do your braces like this, and you can say case A is equal to 1, console.writeLine A is 1, and now after each case statement you need to put a break unless you break out of it some other way, which I'll show you in later episodes. But case 1 break, so then or we could do case 2, case 3, console.writeLine A is 2 or 3, and then default is the natural way to break out of it. I forgot the break statement. So if we do here console.writeLine A isn't 1, 2 or 3. Another way of writing that is A is greater than 3 and positive and not 0. I guess 0 isn't positive or negative, I'm not sure. Some mathematician would probably argue me for that, I'm not sure. But yeah, that would work, and then finally a break at the end. So if I was to run this and do 0, it will do the final default value. If I was to do 1, it would do that. If I was to do 2, it would do this. If I was to do 3, it would do this. And you can stack as many of these case statements up as you want before you do a break, and all of them would activate this block of code before the break. And I think that concludes this episode.